We already got your block of thought, and we'll be very kind to you. We're not going to beat you up today. And we will let you talk a little.
A little. So I feel eager. Abraham feels eager. And yet when Abraham feels eager, it's way more eager than I've ever eagered. So I'm sat here in a depth of appreciation for the eagerness of my becoming.
But you know, when you think about what we were saying earlier about when you feel satisfaction, it's ours. So you don't know for sure. In fact, you're not even really accurate about that, because any emotion is a translation, a physical translation of vibration. And so nobody really even knows if what they're seeing in this room is what everyone else is seeing in this room. Anything that you're translating, you don't really know how anyone else is translating it, but you can be certain that when you feel those high-flying, powerful emotions, that you are feeling something very close to what the source within you is feeling about the same thing. Very close.
So on the Caribbean cruise in March, we borne witness to a prolific energy rush that this physical vessel struggled seemingly to contend with, or was more trying to acclimate to the energy.
That's what asking for something that you're not quite ready for gets you. That's what trying to force something with the power of your mind before you're vibrationally ready accomplishes. In the early days, you should have seen Esther when she was receiving us, because Jerry was asking for more than she was really ready for. Her body was a shaking mess. She could not contain the energy. She wasn't acclimated to it. And he was summoning by the power of his desire, and she was willing to allow him whatever he wanted from Abraham through her. But she was not physically, her vessel was not physically up to speed with it. And so, same thing. In other words, it took her a little while to acclimate. That's all right.
So the basis of the question then is, how can I continue to amp up the energy, but also continue to acclimate to...
By understanding that you're not amping up the energy, you're accepting the energy that's amped.
Yes.
Because when you try to be
Perfect.
the amper, it's like when there's current passing through the walls of your building, you plug in a receiver to the current. You don't plug in an equal current, you'd cause an explosion. You are the receiver of it. And it's pulsing. So then you transmit and receive. In other words, it's quite a dance that we're all doing together. But don't try to amp. That's a little too heady. Just realize that in step 1, you did all the amping. And in step 3, you're doing the receiving of what you're ready for. Just say things to yourself that mean things. Esther discovered that when she started saying things like, I'm ready, or I'm willing, or I want this now, that she just sort of softened her perspective. So she wasn't meeting us like this. She was allowing us into her experience.
So what was prolific for me in that experience was to, in the moment, feel the inspiration of the question flowing to me, and near instantaneous, amongst 1,100 people, you flick across the audience without any air of hesitation whatsoever and say, you are the one.
You know what we knew. That's that receptive mode all the way over here into manifestation. You were ready to be ready to be ready to be ready, and then it was time, and before it happened, you knew it, and so did we. Just like just now. You felt the timing of that too. We want to ask you softly and respectfully, why are you wanting to think it through with such precision? Why not just say things like, when the timing's right, or I'll take it as it comes, or...
There's a dichotomy going on in terms of realizing instantaneous manifestation versus the joy of the journey, the joy of the becoming. And I have the delight of doing both, but...
But let's think about it. We love this question. It's perfect. There is a manifestation in every moment. Every moment is a manifestation. And the manifestation is to the extent that you are ready and able to allow it. So every moment is a manifestation. So let's just say you've sidled up to your vortex and you're ready to receive, and you receive the manifestation of a thought. And then let's say that that thought becomes practiced with you, and then you receive the manifestation of an impulse. And then let's say you receive the manifestation of more impulses and more impulses and more impulses. And then the next logical step is the manifestation of the full-blown with more of what you wanted. But no creation is ever really complete. The manifestations continue to come to you. So it's being satisfied with the manifestations as they come in the form in which they come that helps you. And it's the being discontent because it's only a thought. It's not a car in my garage, or it's only an impulse. And so that's what slows it down, is that determination to make it more than you were ready to receive, and then being a little upset at yourself for not being more ready to receive more. Where if you're satisfied in what you are receiving, that's where happily ever after comes from. I got it. Yay, it was so good. Ooh, I like this too. I like it so much. I like this too. Oh, and this manifestation is way good. But have you noticed that so often when the thing that you've been wanting actually really shows up in all the ways you thought it would, it doesn't feel like some big, amazing thing like you were dreaming about. It's just the next logical step. That really bothered Esther a lot. Oh, when I really, really want it, it can't come. But when I'm ready and it doesn't matter that much, then in it comes. Yeah, exactly.
I have a desire to understand what was the difference in this prolific energy rush in the exchanges that we've shared together. What was it about that moment that had me just so viscerally...
We want to say about every exchange we've had with you, and there have been a lot of them, is that your desire, because it is so profound and because you focus so much, is always vibrating just ahead of your ability to allow the fullness of it. But that's a wonderful thing, because that means you're out there and ready, but you could soften it. You could take it as it comes. You could deliberately and consciously get your mindset that I'm going to take it as it comes. I'm going to take it as I'm ready to receive it. Because you know, your inner being, oh, you're really going to like this.
I usually do.
Your inner being understands not only what you're asking for and where it is, but your inner being understands your readiness. So your inner being is not delivering ahead of your readiness. And so what you said earlier, and we were talking about the two currents, that's you trying to amp it up. But if you just realize that your inner being is offering it in accordance with your readiness, and that's got to be enough, because any more than that would short circuit you. Esther and family were in Rome, and in the hotel, maybe if you have had the experience, there was an electrical circuit that looked exactly like the ones that they have back home. But it wasn't. And when Esther's little sister plugged her curling iron in, it set her hair on fire. Because the current was not adjusted to the curling iron. Your inner being will not set your hair on fire.